This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to This Week in Alabama Politics. Folks, we're very fortunate tonight to have as our guest one of my favorite young men in Alabama politics, Alabama government. He's not really a politician, he's a leader in the state. Mr. Gordon Stone, who hails from Wilcox County, the home of Governor Ivey, and he's a proud man from Pineapple, but he has been the founder of the fastest growing town in the state of Alabama, Pike Road, and most of our viewers are here in the river region. Y'all know the growth of Pike Road, and I've known Gordon and his wife Ellen for a long number of years, and they're two of my favorite people. Have two beautiful daughters. Gordon, good to have you on the show.
Steve, it's an honor to be here.
And we thank you for bringing Turner with you, and she helps run City Hall out there, and Lexi, your new assistant at the higher education folks. A lot of people don't know you as head of your job in the higher education. Tell people how long you've been the organizer of higher education and all that in the state, which is how you make your living.
Right. I've been blessed to have two of the best jobs you could ever have. In 1997, like a long story short, the universities of the state decided they wanted to have one organization that all the students and the faculty and the alums could collaborate and work together to tell the story. So we formed the Higher Education Partnership, and I was blessed to be the first employee hired. And we were given three goals and a mission statement and a little bit of money, and said, go build it. And we've had fun for 23 years. 23 years. With that, and it's been a wonderful experience. Had the opportunity to fight for more resources for our universities, to fight for our young leaders of the state, because
every public university.
All 14 of the public universities, and
none of the junior colleges.
No, sir. We just represent the 4-year. But the public universities are often not thought about when we talk about public education, but they're the breeding ground for the solutions to all of our state's problems. They're the training ground for the leaders that are going to lead us to find those solutions, and they are the best return on investment that the state makes. We have a $12.50 return for every dollar the state puts into our institutions. So I've been blessed to help organize and put together some great events, some wonderful storytelling opportunities, and to work with some of the top leaders in the state, from Dr. Jack Hawkins, who has certainly done a marvelous job as the Chancellor of Troy University, to all the other institutional leaders that we've had and their teams. It's been a real blessing.
You can live in your Pike Road. Waters now, he's been there about 10 or 15
years.
We're
pleased that he has a residence in Pike Road. Absolutely. He and Miss Janice are wonderful leaders for our community too.
My other best friend, two of my best friends in the world, Jack Hawkins and Keith Watkins. And Keith and Terry, one of the first builders out there at the Waters, and we stay in touch. Keith and I grew up together. We were best friends all of our life there in Troy. But back to higher education, one of the best things that has happened, even when I was in the legislature and I stayed there through 1998, is that higher education rally you started. That was one of the highlights. We were in the legislature and see all the kids come from all over the state and the mascots and everything.
Well, we wanted to capture the enthusiasm.
You thought about doing that, didn't you?
Yes, sir. And we wanted to capture the enthusiasm and the spirit of energy that we have on our campuses, and we thought the best way to do that was just to say, come down here and show your love for your institution. So it's a colorful day. There are lots of flags. There's lots of energy. There's lots of great message, though, in that, if we fail to invest in our universities, we're cutting off opportunities for future generations. And if we'll just be equitable, take care of pre-K, take care of K-12, take care of 2-year, and take care of 4-year, Alabama's future is very, very bright.
Well, the story needs telling. I was sort of prejudiced when I was in the legislature because I had the university was my major industry in my district, Troy University. So I had Troy and Pike and Dale counties. But you've got roots in Pike County, and you're also Ellen is from Ozark. Her daddy was superintendent of education there. Tell him about, get our viewers caught up on your two girls now. They've all got out of college now.
Yes, sir. Well, my oldest one's graduated with a master's from Troy. She's working for Troy University, and he loves having the opportunity to continue to be a Trojan. And my my youngest one is finished Auburn, and now she is in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the University of Arkansas in law school, pursuing a law degree with a specialty in agriculture. They have a unique program out there. So I'm real proud of my girls. They've been great for Ellen and I, and we're just thankful that they are the people that God intended them to be. They're wonderful, wonderful parts of our family. But I'll say this too: I'm proud of our public universities, giving them a place to grow and mature and be all they can be. It's been a great testimony to what I do, to watch them if they've had that opportunity to experience that learning.
Gordon, if you will, Mayor, if you tell me I know we do this every time you're on, but I think for new viewers and people watching, forget, tell our viewers, if you can, the founding of Pike Road. It's a great story around the state. It resonates as is the fastest growing town in the state, and probably for the second time coming.
Right, 2 decades. We've had
2 decades
that
now. But it's quite a story. But you were on the ground floor of it. Lead our viewers through that. You and Ellen moved out there before it was a town.
That's right.
Before it was cool.
Well, Pike Road's always been a neat place, and the community of Pike Road has a deep and rich history. It's an agrarian backbone. It was a place where people loved to go, and they could ride their horses, or they could hunt, they could fish, they could experience life in a way that maybe they couldn't in the city. But as the city of Montgomery began to grow eastward, the people who lived there wanted to have the opportunity to have their voice heard in a more significant way. And the best opportunity to do that in a county location is to incorporate, because then you can set your own ordinances, you can set your own standards. And so we were fortunate that Ellen and I moved out there the very year the town incorporated.
What year was that?
1997. The same year we formed the Higher Education Partnership.
You had a busy year that year, didn't you?
It was quite a year, yes, sir.
Well, what years were your daughters born? About the same year?
One of them was born in 97. And then
yeah, it was a heck of a year for you, wasn't it? Moved to Pike Road, started higher education, started Pike Road, had a daughter.
Well, it was a great year. But we were not there were people that lived in Pike Road really deserved the credit for the energy for incorporating, and they worked very hard, went all around getting petitions signed, and you have to meet certain requirements of the law.
So the same year y'all moved out there, they incorporated.
That's correct. Yes,
Tell me again that story, how it happened.
We
came to your house or something.
Yeah, that's right. You have a great memory. We had just moved into our new house, and literally had boxes, and we were first night we were going to sleep there, and someone knocked on the back door, and it was our 2 doors down neighbor who turned out to be the clerk, and her husband turned out to be the first mayor of Pike Road, Charlene and Wayne Rayburn. But Charlene was knocking on our back door, and she said, we need 2 signatures to meet the minimum as required by state law under population density standards. We need 2 signatures for y'all to make this official. And would y'all sign?
Had y'all built a new house out there?
No, we bought a home that it was already there. But it was fun because we got to be the last 2 signatures on the petition that they needed to have, and then shortly thereafter there was a vote to incorporate, and it passed with great gusto, and we were a part of that kickstart of the town. And then a few years later they asked me to be on the council. Served with the council for 4 years, and in 2004 we had some more people. We were about 2 miles wide and maybe a mile deep at that time. We had about 250, 300 people, and we had a group that lived across, still in the Pike Road community, but away from the incorporated area, who wanted to get in. And Miss Judy Rittenauer, who was the second mayor, was mayor, and I was on the council, and she said, anybody got any opinion of what we should do? These people want to get in. And I said, well, Miss Judy, they live in the Pike Road area. They get their mail in Pike Road. They want to be in the town of Pike Road. We ought to do what we can to try to get them in. And Miss Judy said, well, okay, Gordon, sounds like a great idea. You be in charge of that. And so we went to the legislature, asked our friends at the legislature and the local delegation if they would pass a bill to let those folks in. They said they would. And during the special session that summer of '04, when we were having a health care session, Governor Riley was kind enough to leave a message in there that said local bills. And so we put our local bill in, and it passed. And so we went from around 300 people, 250 to 300, to 1,300 people overnight. And Miss Judy called me up and said, I believe it's your turn to be mayor. I'm not running again. Would you run for mayor? And that was, so I had the privilege of being the mayor when that was signed by Governor Riley. And then we had a town
Started being May in 2004.
2004. And we had a town hall meeting in February of '05, asked people what they wanted, and they said, we want a plan for growth. We want to know where we're going, what we're going to look like when we get there. We want to understand.
Y'all brought this real high, really outstanding group in to do this.
That's right. That's right.
I remember talking to you about
That's
that.
right. They said they wanted good services, but not to overtax the services. They wanted good services, though. Wanted to have quality of life recognized and respected and appreciated as we grew. And then number 4, wanted to have an opportunity to have confidence in public education. So planning, education, quality of life, and services, those 4 pillars. And today we're still working on those.
Let me ask you about the schools. Tell me now, you bought that Georgia Washington school. What are y'all doing with this? Is that elementary?
Well, here's what we did. In 2005, we organized a group of citizens, said, y'all want to come in and tell us what you think a school should be like. We reached out to the universities at Alabama State, Troy, AUM, and Auburn. We said, would you send your experts to help us? They literally, a group of citizens wrote a curriculum for Pike Road based on just blank sheets of paper. I'll never forget, in that little old house that we were using as town hall at the time in the historic part of the town, they had sheets of paper all over the wall where they wrote what they wanted a curriculum to look like. With the help of those university people, we designed the system as we thought it could be. Then we went out in '06 and '07 and '08 and started talking to residents all over the town that we're not necessarily in about that, getting their feedback, because we had to have 5,000 residents to start the school system.
Is that a state law?
State law, okay. Yes, sir. To pull out of a county system and start your independent system in the city. And so we had the privilege, though, of hiring a graduate student from Auburn who came over and helped us, and with our staff, Liz Craig at the time, working with this student, we put together a model for a census, because we had to have 5,000, and we were talking to people and counting people, and we knew when we got to, in 2008 and 9, when we got over 5,000, that we could move forward. We went ahead, separated in 2010. In 2011, from the county schools. In 2011, we started.
There's one county schools in Montgomery anyway, at that time. The city of Montgomery is all in one county.
That's right, it's one system in the whole county. And so we had the privilege in 2011 of hiring some folks who told us how much it was going to cost to build a campus. We appointed a school board, hired a superintendent, had a vote for a referendum, it passed, and we were off to the races. In 2013, we were fortunate enough to have a lot of momentum to get the school construction started. We built our first campus out at near the waters off of Marlow Road.
But that was an elementary school.
Well, it was a full school at that point, K-8. Then we bought the old historic school the next year.
The Georgia Washington?
No, that's the one, the old Pike Road School.
Okay.
Right near where the old town hall was, where we had those first meetings. Bought it, renovated it, opened it 2 years later. And then 2 years after that, we're able to negotiate and buy the George Washington campus. And now what we have is elementary at the original campus. We have intermediate school at the historic campus. And at George Washington, we have junior high in one wing.
What grades is junior high now?
Junior high, I believe they consider junior high 7 and 8.
Is that the way most schools
9,
do now? Is it
10.
7, 8 junior high? The Hoover schools?
I'm not sure of what all of them do, but in the way we're structured, we have 4. We have basically we have kindergarten, elementary on one campus. We have intermediate, junior high, middle school.
So you got all 12 grades.
And then high school.
Yes, your high school's out of the waters.
No, high school's right there on the George Washington campus.
Okay.
There's 2 wings of that campus. One is the junior high, middle school, and one is the
where do you play your football game?
Have a stadium that we built there at George Washington. And,
okay, right there is where the stadium is.
Yes,
it's not at the water.
No, sir, it's right there. I have a nice, very engaging athletic complex there, a softball field, baseball field, full gymnasium with all the amenities.
Now, what classification is Pike?
We are 5A now. We went from no students, and in 5 years to 5A. We have over 2,100 students.
Who all do y'all play in sports being 5A? Who's y'all's competition?
Oh, gosh, it depends on the year, obviously. We played Andalusia last year.
Are they in the same division?
Right. We played Charles Henderson last year. We played, all the 5A schools in this part of the state.
Charles Henderson's 5A
Yes,
too?
sir. Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of A lot of university employees at Troy probably are living in Pike Road.
We have a nice group of employees from Troy
'Cause it's
University
not a
in
bad
Pike Road.
commute.
We also have a number of other people that live in Troy that work in Troy that live in Pike Road, because from our home, which is on the near the old historic center of town, to Troy is less than 30 miles.
It was a 30-minute drive.
That's
isn't it?
right.
It
So,
was about
but we
30-minute
also
drive.
have a number of people that obviously live and work live in Pike Road, work in Montgomery, and then we have some that live in Pike Road and work north on 85 toward the Albany area.
Oh
So
yeah,
we're
that's
very
right.
convenient. You know, we're from Interstate 85 all the way to 231. That's the crescent that we call Pike Road, and we've got neighborhoods all across the horizon of our community.
People don't realize what a big territory.
That's
Pike Road.
right. It's as big in square miles as the entire city of Montgomery square miles. We have 160 square miles in Pike Road.
So 25 years from now, it could be Hoover.
It could be big, yes, sir. But one of the cool things about what we've done is by hiring those professional planners that you talked about early on, before we actually started really, really growing, they built a model for growth. And we have a comprehensive plan that goes with that model that allows us to make decisions on a very systematic, very carefully thought out way that allows us to meet our mission. And the mission from the original founders till today has been maintain the character while planning for progress. So you're going to have things that are going to come up that are going to be diversified and going to look a little different in one neighborhood from the other, but they all have very similar bones, very similar character traits, landscaping traits, exterior traits that we want to maintain, because we believe
Each subdivision.
each neighborhood. And if you look at that, one of the reasons we've done that is you look at the cities around the country that have sustained value, you'll see that they have a similar pattern. So if you think about Mount Pleasant outside of Charleston, or if you think of Fairhope, or you think of cities outside Brentwood or Franklin outside of Nashville, you'll have very similar type guiding principles. So what that allows us to do is to work with developers. Matter of fact, I have a meeting coming up later this week with a developer who has an idea of something they want to do. They come to us first. We get them with the planners, we get them with our in-house planner. All of them get together and come up with ideas of ways that they can meet their goals for volume and their goals for growth, at the same time meet the town's stated goals that are in that plan. And so it works beautifully because it allows you to have some input and control over growth, while at the same time not stymieing growth at all.
Is that one of the reasons, as a observer of the growth over these years, watching the growth, I wondered, you've been a little bit slow in letting the retail,
well, I tell you
the
about
Publix
that.
and that sort of thing. Have you got that on the drawing board?
Well, I don't know that we have been slow as much as it's been the timing of it. If you realize when Pike, one of the most
the
amazing
planners told you to do it that way.
Well, no, not necessarily, but they do it in an orderly fashion. So think about this, Steve. It's the amazing side of the Pike Road story is that this growth that has occurred for 2 decades, the fastest growing city in Alabama,
Right.
still Publix, it took us 8 years to get Publix to come to Pike Road. Now why? They had 2 different trips up to Pike Road where they had people ride around and look around and go, we just don't think you're ready. But you know why? They never got off the main road. And some of our growth standards say you've got to build 200 yards off, you've got to build back. So some of our bigger neighborhoods are not visible from the main road. And that's because of the style and the character traits that we've built into our plan. So it works to help you, but it can also sometimes be a little bit elusive, I guess, if you're looking around to see things because you don't know it's there. Now that's one of the things that's been about our retail. Another thing about our retail is we had the 2008 downturn in the economy has happened during all of this, as well as now COVID and some other things. So we've had some pretty massive occurrences and just economic occurrences that were nationwide or worldwide that literally have changed the landscape of retail and that type of growth. But even in spite of that, we've continued to go. We had 20 neighborhoods when we incorporated when we had that big growth in 2004, 20. Now we have 70 plus neighborhoods in Pike Road.
You know, speaking of that, when I pass by that road I drive by all the time, there's a new subdivision starting there across from old Kitchen's house over there, where Kitchen's built that big old house. Wait, what's that? It's going to be a subdivision there?
Yes, sir. They have a really nice layout. It's called Smart Growth, the style of those homes, and just one of many.
Does Alabama Power serve that, or who serves it?
We
This
have
is a
two.
co-op.
That's interesting. Let's go. We go back to another pillar. We've talked about planning. Another pillar would be our services. In Pike Road, this is an interesting thing about our city and how we were able to do the school system as early as we were. We don't own a dump truck, we don't own a garbage truck, we don't own a police car. We partner with other providers to provide those. We have two power companies that serve Pike Road, both Dixie and Alabama Power. We have two sewer providers that provide in Pike Road. We have two gas companies that provide in Pike Road. We have an outsourced garbage service. We work with the Sheriff's Department, and we are so thankful for them. Sheriff Cunningham and his deputies are amazing providers of safety for our people.
Well, y'all probably pay them a good fee to do that, though.
We work with them, absolutely, but we should work with them.
Well, yeah.
And we have 3 volunteer fire departments with over 10 fire stations in Pike Road.
Do you think you'll always do that?
Well, I think we should do that as long as it makes sense. And as long as people aren't being underserved,
Right.
it's the most logical way to do it, because those resources that you aren't investing there, you can in turn invest those resources in other things that are meaningful to your residents, such as our school system or our quality of life program. You know, a place like Pike Road that's only 23 years old has got a full-blown arts council that has artistic activity ranging from quilt shows to plein air paint outs to pottery exercises to music and other kinds of productions in Pike Road in an old house under the water tower. It's called the Waterhouse Gallery. We have an active monthly agriculture and stewardship committee. All the churches in Pike Road work together in what we call our prayer team to do community service and work during this pandemic. They've had a wonderful opportunity to help frontline workers. We've got an ongoing business association that meets every quarter that has training exercises, lunch and learns we call them. We've got a smorgasbord of quality of life programming. Those things, a trail system, for instance, that's out there, natural trail system. Trail systems and investments like that, parks and investments like that, quality of life programming, and all because of the way we uniquely put our services together, and a school system that is setting both academic as well as athletic records.
You know, I was involved when we passed that territorial legislation that grandfathered people where their utilities would be. And that area, I think even at that time, I think the perception was that Dixie wanted to win lakes. And that Dixie got a lot of that, but y'all got Alabama Power got part of that land too.
Well, when you get out to Pike Road, it's interesting. There are lines that are drawn where different service providers provide, but we cross those lines, so we've got people on one side that are one and the other side that are the other.
Let me ask you a question. It may not be able to answer. There's some cities in Alabama, Troy being one of them, that own their own utility.
Right, yes, sir.
Are y'all capable legally to do that?
We could.
You
We'd
could
have to
join
go,
them if you ever want to do it?
To own our own municipal.
That would be the way to do it if I was going.
Well, I don't know. I think right now.
You get such good service from those people.
I don't know. I think our model works pretty well.
Well, until you probably
look at the resources,
you couldn't get any cheaper.
If you look at the resources, and we've done an analysis where we compare Pike Road's expenditure, like in payroll, for instance. If you look at similar sized cities or cities even twice our size, what we spend on payroll in Pike Road is like 19-20% of our total cost, whereas most of them it's in the 30s and 40s. And think about what that means to what that money can go to. So you have the opportunity to provide the service, and here's the other thing: you aren't restricted in growth. For instance, if you've got an outside provider, let's take garbage for instance. If you've got a garbage provider who's getting paid by the homeowner, then every time you get a new home, they just add more service. So you don't have to come back and pass a new tax onto the citizens in order to provide that service. So, you know, it's really kind of a neat model. We learned it by looking at those really great, desirable cities and saying, what are you doing that works? And we figured out, well, they do a little of this here and a little of that there, and we just put it all together and adopted that in Pike Road, and it's been wonderful. And again, as you continue to look forward, one of the things we do every year is we look at what we're doing. Does it work this year? Will it work in 5 years? Will it work in 10? Will it work in 25? And if you're coming out there buying a home, we want you to feel like that your investment will have a greater value in 25 years than it does today. So if we're going to do that, we have to recognize that where a lot of these young families that are moving out for the schools right now are moving into Pike Road. Well, they're excited about the school, but in 10 years, their children may be out of the school.
You want them to
what
stay
do we
there.
want them to have that will make that home equally valuable?
That's very wise.
So we're doing things to make sure that we take care of that. That's where the walking trails come in. We have a new agriculture, recreation, performing arts facility that we're putting on the ground, and we're going to bring the extension service to Pike Road. Why? Because the Cooperative Extension Service has programs for all ages, and they come through the university systems. So you take what I know from the partnership and maybe and the valuable aspects of what these universities offer, and you give them a place to do it in your community, and our citizens are the winners.
Gordon, you've been mayor since 2004.
That's right.
That means that's 12 years.
16.
16.
Yes,
You've
sir.
been
I'm
elected to
starting
your
my
fifth term.
starting my fifth
I asked
term.
you that when you ran for re-election.
Yeah.
Nobody ran against you, though, did they?
I was blessed to not
So
have
you're running. You're starting your fifth
Yes,
four-year term as mayor.
Yes, sir.
We got to close this out. We only got a minute left, but let me ask you the population figures when you first started, and what do you project will be y'all's figures at the end?
I don't know how to project what it will be. I think as the outer loop comes into our area, we'll have more and more opportunities for growth. But I do believe this. Our next big emphasis is to continue to serve the citizens we have well and allow the other to occur naturally. So we know we will have to invest in schools. We know we continue to invest in quality of life. We know retail is coming with the new Publix and the 19 out parcels and infills that are coming with it. We're going to have more and more retail. That's going to give us the fuel to take care of the growth that'll come. And then as those transportation corridors open up, more and more retail is going to come to Pike Road. And we'll be innovative and we'll be ready for it because our model allows us to expand.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks, our guest tonight's been one of the outstanding men in Alabama government and politics from two angles. He's held the higher education institution in the state, and he's also almost the founding mayor of Pike Road. He's been mayor for 16 years, and starting his fifth term, he loves his community, and it's the fastest growing in the state. And we probably have a lot of you viewers who live in Pike Road watching the show, and we thank y'all for watching, and hope you tune again next week for Alabama Politics. And we thank Mayor Gordon Stone for being our guest tonight. Thank y'all. Thank you, Gordon.